33 days to the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Hashtag Stop Galamsey now still on. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, sweeping changes to the SHS system as government begins implementation of a new curriculum emphasizing what it says is character development and holistic education to create well-rounded, ready for the world students.
So when students go through this curriculum and our communities are still filthy, we still don't have empathy towards one another. We are still not being shiny examples for the youth.
So all that is going to be in the new curriculum.
Exactly, that is what.
We have all that right here on the Newsnight, also tonight.
And you see, these appliances are very old. One station can go to about 3 or 4 fires in a day because the car is very old. Someone right now in Abubu can even bypass our appliance because it is old.
And I better knock on wood, if there's a fire outbreak tonight, don't expect much help, as fresh data from the Ghana National Fire Service shows that out of the 248 fire tenders, only 115 are functional, leaving regions like OT and Upper East and even the fire service headquarters without functional equipment. We have details as the minority on the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament are unhappy about the situation.
Sometimes their ties are worn out and they cannot buy ties. They have to fall on people. They have virtually been reduced to begging. The government is not responsive to the plight of the Ghana National Fire Service at all. And that for me is very, very unfortunate.
And in your election headquarters tonight, NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's bold claim of creating 2.6 million jobs in the ATS Spark scrutiny. Tonight we'll dig deeper into the facts behind the figures.
Between 2017 and 2024, the latest data is that we've created 2.6 million jobs.
Plus, NDC flag bearer John Mahama challenges the Vice President's commitment to job creation, urging him to show proof of his pledge by paying arrears owed NAPCO trainees first. And I have all the details of the never-ending exchanges on the campaign trail as Dr. Bawumia slams John Mahama for his inability to mention one policy he championed as Vice President and President.
Media Ubisami Dr. Bawumia made 33 different policies.
And there's business.
Ghana's insurance industry records a significant increase of 24% in its equity base to 5.2 billion cedis in 2023.
And in sports, Ghana Athletics announces plans underway to assist Africa Games gold medal winning jumper Cadman Evans Yamwa in paying his fees ahead of possible expulsion.
And much later in our Streets of Despair series, we'll bring you the story of the carpet seller Akwesi Owusu, who has traded on the streets for 10 years but wants that situation to change.
Sometimes I find it difficult to even get up. If you are not very strong, you cannot do it. I help.
We have that and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. I am MFA Apau. Please do want to join me with your thoughts and your comments via WhatsApp 055-1111-997. This is Newsnight live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we are on Love 99.5 FM affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions. X Spaces and Facebook, we are live as well. We're digging now, and tonight we start off from this new curriculum, and it's supposed to start today at the various senior high schools. And of course, if you're a parent, you're a teacher, you're a learner, you're a guardian, and you're very much interested in this particular new curriculum, I think it's a good time for you to send us your messages, all your questions you have bothering this particular new curriculum is 055-1111-997 on all our social media platforms. Also, you can leave your comments there. We've been dealing with it extensively last night on EduTalk on the Joy News channel, but these are sweeping reforms to the senior high school system as government commences the implementation of this new curriculum from today. Government says the changes are to focus on building character development and holistic education to create well-rounded, ready for the world students. The new curriculum also takes over from the existing system, with students now required to do a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 9 learning areas in school. We can listen to the acting head of curriculum development at the National Council for Curriculum Assessment, NACA, Reginald Quarte, on why this change is necessary.
And one of the things that kept coming was whether the curriculum this curriculum was actually going to shape learners, especially in terms of values. It has one thing that has come up from all of the stakeholders that we are engaging. And we said, yes, rightly so, because we are integrating the 21st century skills and competencies. Yes, we are able to develop the values. So again, the curriculum is only looking at what we call the cognitive domain, but we are also looking at the behavioral, socio-emotional and behavioral domains, including values, because MFR of what use is a qualified accountant or an astute lawyer. Yes, you are competent enough, yeah, but beyond that, what examples are you showing? How beneficial are you to your society? Okay. So we're thinking that this curriculum should be such that after learners have gone through this curriculum for a number of years, we'll be able to measure based on the kind of things we see in our societies. So when students go through this curriculum and our communities are still filthy, we still don't have empathy towards one another. We are still not being shining examples for the youth.
So all that is going to be in the new curriculum.
Exactly, that is what.
Well, the major changes include grouping specific learning areas into 4 groups with students at liberty to choose subjects which were not included in their original courses. We can listen to the Director General himself of NACA, Professor Yayira Jakaji, explain this new system with general science as a case study.
We have additional learning areas now, for example, global studies and the STEM-related areas. So when you go to the subject combination, you realize that there's a bit of flexibility now. Yes, we expect every learner to exit with minimum of 7 or a maximum of 9.
Okay.
So we have 4 groups. We have group A, B, C, and D. In a group A, we have core subjects, which every learner will do. But what is unique about a science learner is that the line learner is not going to do general science or core science.
Oh, okay.
So the learner will be exposed to the physics, chemistry, and biology. Yes, so that caters for the core science. Okay. Then when you come to group C, we have closely related areas to your learning area. So we have additional mathematics there. We have even food and nutrition, closely related to your area. Wow. We have electric and electronics related to the areas. The learner is allowed to move to group C and take some additional courses or subjects in group C. And then the learner is also allowed to go to group D. The group D, it's another pathway. You are a science student, but you want to do some economics.
Wow.
You want to do religion. You want to do history. Yes.
And there's Ghanaian language.
And Ghanaian language. So you are allowed to go and do that also. It's only that you cannot exit the program with more than 9 subjects.
So in all, even though you select from all the groups,
you should be within 9.
9.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Professor Jakaji also says there's been significant and extensive engagement that has been done with all stakeholders before this particular implementation.
So we've done a lot of stakeholder engagement, running from chiefs, yes, we engage the chiefs and people of Ghana completely. We engage universities, university lecturers, UTAG, GAWA. We engage teacher unions as in NAT, NAGRAT, and CCT, and then we also went ahead to engage parents. So we engage almost everybody, including Select Committee of Parliament and everyone that matters when we talk about education in this country. Okay. So all stakeholders are fully aware of the new curriculum and what it entails and what is in there. Yeah.
How about the learners themselves?
Yeah, we've engaged the learners. During this stakeholder engagement, the learners were part of it. They were part of the entire stakeholder engagement.
Well, that's Professor Yayira Jakaji, the NACA Director General. He joins us on the line, and thankfully also we've been joined on the phone by the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clementa Park. For obvious reasons, I would want to start with you, Dr. Clementa Park. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us here on Newsnight. So, Dr. Park, let me first find out. There are those who are already saying that this definitely will be a great curriculum, giving the focus on values and making all-round students out of this particular curriculum. You definitely agree?
Well, let me say good evening to you and good evening to our listeners. And to indicate publicly that this is the first time I am hearing of a rollout of a completed curriculum intended to replace what is currently in existence as far as Ghana's secondary education is concerned.
As the deputy ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, we've been told about extensive engagement. You're saying that you are hearing this for the very first time today.
Well, whoever told you that there was extensive engagement that included an engagement with the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education is clearly misleading you and the public. As the deputy ranking member, there is no time, no place, no hour or minute where the committee hosted anyone in the Ministry of Education and or NACA, where we were briefed, informed, and taken through what is today being marketed as a new curriculum. Simply put, there was no consultation as far as the Parliamentary Select Committee was concerned. So we don't know the content, we don't know the intent, we don't know the magnitude, we don't have an understanding of what is in the new curriculum, how it is going to be implemented, and how it is going to positively or negatively affect the future of Ghana's education. We do not know that as a fact. It has not happened.
That's really interesting. But stay with me, Dr. Park, because I was going to ask about whether we were assured at that level in terms of the engagement about textbooks and how this is going to impact education at that level. So now that you say you do not know, please, let me just bring in the Director General, Professor Yaya Jakaji. Thankfully, he's on the other line. So you've been telling us about the extent of your engagement. You've talked about chiefs, the learners, the teacher groupings, amongst others. Parliament was not involved?
Well, thank you, MFA, and my greetings to your listeners, as well as my senior brother, Clement Apart. Yes, indeed, we have engaged all stakeholders in education as far as this new curriculum is concerned. It is based on their input that we have reviewed the curriculum accordingly. So I'm quite surprised if the ranking member is saying that he's not been engaged.
When was that engagement done with the Committee on Education? And where?
Dr. Park, you would allow Professor Jakaji to finish, but it's a question.
He must finish us with the
yeah,
place.
So during the curriculum review and
I am saying this never happened.
We have engaged all stakeholders, including the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education. We engage every stakeholder extensively, and then including chiefs and people of Ghana. Yeah, that is what I can say for now.
But you're hearing the deputy ranking member on that Select Committee of Parliament mention that there's not been any such engagement, at least at his level, that he knows of. So that's what we're asking, if indeed, as part of this entire stakeholder engagement, you recall that Parliament was engaged. Professor Jakaji.
Maybe let me bring to the attention of the listeners that NACA was entirely internationally with the approach adopted to develop this new curriculum. Before the actual development stage, NACA progressively engaged with the Association of Ghana Industry, Ghana Employers Association, and the Private Enterprises Federation. We also engaged Parliament Select Committee on Education and all other stakeholders that matter in this engagement. Yes.
Well, this is concerning because we are hearing him at least mention that did not happen. Professor Park, Dr. Park, let me find out if it's possible that this particular engagement happened and you were not part.
No,
is it possible?
Happen. In fact, I've conferred with my other colleagues on the committee and no one has a record. And you see, Parliament is a house of records. If this had happened, it will be documented. And you notice that the Director General of NACA is not able to give us a date and a place where this happened. It simply didn't happen. And that is why I know nothing about this new curriculum or the content. And I spoke to other colleagues on the committee. None of them had any idea about the content of the new curriculum. So, as I speak to you now, what I know is what is in the public domain. Thankfully, we are going to resume Parliament on Thursday. We would have to summon the minister and NACA, because this is not a matter that should be toyed with. Ghana's education is already suffering a lot of hiccups. We changed the basic school curriculum. As we speak even today, only 65% of textbooks based on the curriculum that came into effect for basic schools in 2019 have been supplied. We changed the curriculum for junior high schools to Common Core. Our wards just wrote their BECE and are being placed in secondary schools, and the whole time that they were in JHS 1 through to 3, they never had access to a single textbook. Here we are again, going to change the curriculum for secondary school, claiming to have done exhaustive consultation, and yet the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education has no idea about any such consultation, has no idea about the content therein, and we do not have any details about how this is going to be implemented in terms of the needed financial and other resources to ensure effective implementation, given the previous experiences we have.
But Dr. Park,
the way to run and manage Ghana's education.
Dr. Park,
do better.
Would you say this is a departure from the norm? Really, this is about the content that you're going to teach our children, and Parliament was not involved in this whole process. You've mentioned that you're going to summon the Education Ministry and NACA. Is there really an action that you're hoping will be taking when it comes to this?
Yes, rightly so, because we are the people's representatives, and our committee has oversight on any and everything to do with teaching and learning. So how then do you go on to do what you claim to have done, and to even make the claim that you have consulted with the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education, when I know for a fact that that is not true? Clearly, something is not right, and that ought not to be tolerated from duty bearers. They have a responsibility to make sure that we know and we are informed about what is going on in our educational sector. Failing to do that should attract some form of sanction. And that is what I mean.
Okay. Dr. Park, we are grateful. We'll leave it here. But as it stands now, this particular curriculum is being rolled out starting today. Professor Jakaji, for the benefit of the doubt also, I need to add that you've just taken over NACA also not too long ago. So I'm sure that you're also checking with the team if indeed this particular consultation that you talk about with the Parliamentary Select Committee actually happened. But the key concern, at least, that they've raised is the issue about textbooks. We saw what happened with the JHS level and the fact that textbooks were not available for both the teachers and the learners. How different will this be?
Yeah, so MFA, we have developed teacher manuals and electronic textbooks that could be accessed on the microsite at 0 rating, for which the learner will be able to access, and even the parents could access the same materials for the learners. So we put our measures, and we are engaging publishers to also publish books that will be in the system soon.
So as we speak, we are supposed to be rolling out starting today. You're saying that we do not have the full complement of the teaching and learning materials for the students.
We have the full complement of the teaching and learning materials. We have the curriculum as set now in the various schools. We also developed a microsite where the learner could access the materials right from the various schools and study. So we have the full complement of the material.
For both the teachers and the learners themselves.
And the learners as well, yes.
And these are hard copies, soft copies. How exactly are these teaching manuals coming up?
Yeah, the teaching manuals for the teachers are in hard copies, but that of the learners are in soft copy for now. But they will also be put in hard copy for the learners to access.
But how is it that content, this is a new curriculum that we are phasing out and introducing a new one for the senior high school? And if we're hearing from Parliament, at least a deputy ranking member mentioned that it doesn't look like Parliament was involved in this, at least as we've been on. I'm sure you've been checking with the team. Did that really happen?
I'm not sure what he's saying is the right thing, because there are stages of engagement. So at the pre-engagement stage, before the curriculum was fully developed, there was some engagement. And during the process of developing the curriculum, there was an engagement as well. And even now, we are still engaging other stakeholders to bring them to date as to what we have done. Yes. So we are still engaging other stakeholders. Yes. So Parliament Select Committee, as I've checked my system, they were engaged around February 2023. Yes.
February 2023.
2023.
Well, the team is also checking with the other members of the Parliamentary Select Committee. But
Okay.
it raises the concern also that if such content, and we are hearing from Parliament saying they are not aware of it, at least up until now, that's what we know. There are concerns that there could be some content that may be smuggled through the back door to be teaching our children. For instance, the LGBTQ morals, amongst others. Is that what is going to happen? What kind of assurances can you give?
No, I can give you full assurance that this curriculum incorporates Ghanaian values. I can say that it's anchored on Ghanaian values. So we don't have any of these things as part of our curriculum. No, we don't have such things.
Well, I'm getting messages from some teachers. They say teacher manuals definitely have been developed. However, teachers do not have the syllabus for the elective subjects. They are wondering when exactly you'll be releasing the elective syllabus for the teachers. Is that the case?
Yes, we have also developed the syllabus for the elective subjects. They could access that at our website.
And teachers are aware because they are supposed to start teaching from
Yes,
today.
they are aware. And mainly those are the manuals they use for the PLCs and all that. So we have the manuals at our website, and then they can just access those manuals.
Okay. Well, we are grateful, Professor Yaya Jakaji, and this is not the last we are definitely hearing of this matter. We would definitely hear more in terms of the subject combinations, and there is more of that on myjoyonline.com that they are making available as well for parents who may be confused about the situation and what exactly the subject combinations should be. And I'll be going through some of your messages also that you've sent in via WhatsApp. Well, we are still listening to Newsnight here on Joy 99.7 FM, here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. Now let's focus on some other stories. And if a fire breaks out tonight, and I'm knocking on wood as I speak, and you are in the Upper East or T regions, you don't have to expect much help, because fresh data from the Ghana National Fire Service reveals that every fire truck in these regions is currently out of commission, with 100% of their firefighting equipment non-functional. Firefighters in these areas have virtually no means of response to emergencies. The crisis extends beyond just these two regions. Greater Accra, including the national headquarters as well as the Volta region, are similarly hampered by broken or insufficient equipment. The details are contained in the response from the Ghana National Fire Service to a right to information request submitted to the service. Well, Joy News editor Fred Smith joins me via Zoom with some more details on this particular issue and what the details have been. Well, we know that out of the 248 fire tenders that we have, only 115 are functional here in Kolebu and some other parts. And you also recall what happened in Parliament. They mentioned that there was no fire tender there. A number of these concerns have come up. I'll take you through the details. We've been hearing from the ranking member on the Defence and Interior Committee in Parliament, James Agalga. He says all of the fire tenders must be changed immediately, as he blames government for neglecting the Ghana National Fire Service.
The reason is simple. For a long time, the government had neglected the fire service. In fact, the last time the Ghana National Fire Service took delivery of firefighting equipment, if my memory serves me right, sometime in 2014, prior to the last delivery, Professor Mills had also ordered over 126 firefighting vehicles. So, cumulatively, all the firefighting vehicles we have now, none, not even a single one, was bought for the service by this current administration. And yet, it is common knowledge that after 8 years, those tenders are usually supposed to be replaced. These are vehicles that are supposed to move at certain speeds. to be able to attend to emergency situations and put out fire. I mean, if you have an old firefighting vehicle and its speed is not above 60 kilometers per hour, it means that you are just joking.
Right.
Such a vehicle cannot attend to emergency situations and achieve good results. So this is a problem which is due to neglect. These vehicles are supposed to be serviced by experts. There was a time the fire commander in my district actually approached me for support to service fire tender at a mechanic's shop. I found that to be strange because the firefighting engines are very special in nature and cannot be serviced by just any mechanic. Sometimes their tires are worn out and they cannot buy tires. They have to call on people. They have basically been reduced to begging. They beg for arms in order to replace their ties and buttons. The government is not responsive to the plight of the Ghana National Fire Service at all, and that for me is very, very unfortunate. The government simply does not consider the Ghana National Fire Service as part of their priority, services, which needs to be given the needed attention and supported. Look, as a committee, anytime the budget of the Ghana National Fire Service is brought before us for constitution and approval, we have always spoken out against the meager budgetary allocation that the fire service gets. Throughout the period that this particular government has been in office, they have never presented any firefighting equipment or tenders to the service, and that for me is very unfortunate.
That's James Agauga there, is the ranking on the Defence and Interior Committee in Parliament there, speaking to us on the pulse on this particular revelation that indeed out of the 248 fire tenders we have as a country, only 115 are functional. All the rest obsolete, and including the Ghana National Fire Service headquarters, it does appear that they have non-functional tenders. Let's get details of this particular right to information request we submitted to the Ghana National Fire Service for update. And Joy News editor Fred Smith has been leading that for us and joins us via Zoom. So Fred, let's start with the hardest hit regions. What's the situation there?
Well, the hardest regions are the Upper East region and OT. They have 100% of their appliances or fire trucks either broken down completely or faulty in such a way that they will struggle to respond to any fire emergencies. In the Volta region, 15 out of the 17 appliances there are also down. The Upper West region has 14 fire tenders. 12 of those 14 are not operational. Greater Accra is also struggling. Around 60% of fire engines are either they are either faulty or out of use. And the critical areas of Adenta, Abelenkpe, Trade Fair, and Tema. MFA, we have the Tema Oil Refinery and many other industries located in Tema. So they are left with only one operational truck, which may also be in poor condition. Even the national headquarters is not spared. And what we know is that the headquarters has 6 out of the 8 engines there that are faulty. Kolebu Teaching Hospital, that's the area, the Kolebu station, which serves the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. They also have no truck over there. Wager had a truck, but recently, a few months ago, about 2 or 3 months ago, they were responding to a fire incident in Kaswa. But because this vehicle is very old and unreliable, on its way to respond to that fire outbreak in Kaswa, it caught fire itself midway through. And so that fire truck did not get to the destination to even help deal with that fire. So as we speak, Wager does not have a fire truck. Ashanti region situation, not exactly as bad, but even that, if you look at how the emergency situations are, that's equally bad. 25% of the 24 fire trucks are either faulty or out of commission. And MFA, just to set you off, it means the Ghana Fire Service does more than firefighting. They are responsible for responding to accidents, issues, saving people who are drowning, rescuing those trapped in collapsed buildings, and also responsible for rescuing persons in times of flood.
Well, but Fred, in the face of all these challenges then, what does the fire service say is its level of preparedness to respond to fires and other emergencies?
Well, the fire service, in response to us, said that they are very well prepared to respond to any fire emergency, but the data I've given you suggests otherwise. If you have even your headquarters struggling this way, if you have some fire stations without fire trucks, then it means when you call them, they won't be able to come. It's even worse if it's a story building. They don't even have ladders to climb up if a fire breaks up in a story building. And so it's a very dire situation, even though they seek to suggest that everything is all right.
Well, that's the situation. And Fred, thank you so much. Joining News Editor Fred Smith there, giving us an update on what we've been told when it comes to this information that we requested from the Ghana National Fire Service in terms of their preparedness to fight fire and emergencies. And it's a rather gloomy picture that has been painted by that information that we got. But you can listen to Alex Kinati in an interaction earlier with us on this situation as well.
The whole big area of East Legon, through to Trazaku, through to Adjungano, 69, School Junction, Santo, East Legon Hills, we don't have a single fire station.
Not a single fire station.
In North Legon, there's no fire station. North Legon, all through to Domi, Kwabinya, Taifa,
Agboba, and the rest.
We don't have a single fire station there.
Why is it so?
So that's how bad the situation. Our plants at Obuasi is out of commission.
Obuasi?
Yes. And then this, you see, our officers are ready to work. That's why the challenges, I think.
So in the absence of that truck, what do we call the fire engine? Yes. In the absence of that, you can't move?
We being resourced is a national call. It's not for the fire service. After all, I won't go and park the fire tender in my house.
In certain places, in certain jurisdictions, when an emergency situation and the fire service is called, ambulance follows with the fire service, sometimes the police. In our case, sometimes getting any of them to come is even difficult.
As of now, the plans at Amasaman is out of commission.
It means that most of your plans are out of commission.
The government has promised us some appliances, and we are hoping that it will come on time.
So now, if there's an emergency situation all the way from Obuasi to, let's say, Amiakwanta in Kumasi, response time will not be prompt because you don't have any fire engine serving that enclave.
Yes, it might come from quite a distance. Because even from Nkoko through to Kumasi, I think the only appliance is at Konongo, and that one, it's not in the best of condition. Yes, and you see, these appliances are very old. You see, and one station can go to about 3 or 4 fires in a day. There was a fire at Taifa. The appliance at Anya had to move all the way from Anya Market. It even turned into a fight. I was there personally, and we were attacked. We had to...
Because they don't come on time.
Exactly. But they don't know the challenges, because the car is very old. Someone right now in Abubuya can even bypass our appliance because it is old.
And that's an Alex Kinati there interacting with us on the pulse about how the Abubuya can even be faster than their fire tenders. We go for business. When we return, we'll hit the campaign trail and the NPP flag bearer, Dr. Baumia's bold claim of 2.6 million jobs in 8 years, sparking some scrutiny. Tonight, we dig deeper into the facts behind the figures.
Between 2017 and 2024, the latest data is that we've created 2.6 million jobs.
Plus, the NDC flag bearer John Mahama challenging the Vice President's commitment to job creation, urging him to show proof of his pledge by paying arrears owed NAPCO trainees first. We have details also of the never-ending exchanges on the campaign trail as Dr. Baumia slams John Mahama for his inability to mention one policy he championed as Vice President and President.
Onidia wabedi oman penyin pen. Enintina mi bisa no na anu se. On chirayen inhihye ba ko a odi aba Ghana. Eya dum so ana. Anasa akukon ketenketen. Akukon ketenketen. Media ubisa me Dr. Baumia. Mebo 33 different policies.
You want to stay for details of that coming up shortly after business with Pius Kojo Baka.
Good to see you on this night. It's been
You
a
took
while
the
on
words
this
out of my
night.
mouth.
Yeah.
What's in business?
Well, fuel price hikes at the pumps are temporary. That's the view of energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman. As it says, this is due to the upcoming U.S. elections and geopolitical tension. Also in business, Ghana's industry sector records a significant increase of 24% in its equity base to 5.52 billion cedis in 2023. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Hello, welcome back to Newsnight, and this is the business segment of the news. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman has disclosed that the increase in fuel prices at the pumps is temporary owing to the upcoming U.S. elections and geopolitical tension. Some oil marketing companies have increased prices of petroleum products at the pumps, attributing that to the rise in crude oil on the international market and the cedi's depreciation. In an interview with Joy Business, Dr. Suleiman believes the hike is temporary.
Lack of strong performance in the city that has impacted the upward adjustment. Yes, the price within the in the international city, it has increased, but not that significant. What we have today that has increased within these few days, it hasn't fed into the market. But of course, the marketers will always do forward pricing with the expectation that this increment will sustain. But I will tell you that this increment, I doubt whether it will sustain because it's speculative. It is just because of OPEC announcement. The chances are that within the coming days or up to 1 week, we will likely see the real picture of the market.
Energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleiman speaking there. Now, finance professor at Andrews University in the USA, Professor Williams Pipra says the outcome of the U.S. election is likely to negatively impact trade relations between Ghana and United States should a new government make a policy that will temper with existing trade activities between both countries. Speaking earlier on Business Live, Professor Pipra urged government to maintain an open door policy no matter the outcome of the elections.
For Ghana, for instance, we know that we benefited from AGWA, and this relationship is still ongoing. As a country, we may have to keep an open door to ensure that this trade relationship still exists. When it comes to foreign aid and policies, we know that both parties, Democrats and Republicans, have their own policies, but we've noticed that President Trump is focusing more on domestic agendas. But this will not override the overall international relationship. So there is a major concern in that effect. What really may affect Ghana is the point of trade, whether either of the president will be having a policy that is going to affect AGWA, and that will be a major impact on us.
Professor Williams Pipra is a finance professor at the Andrews University in the USA. Away from U.S. elections-related stories, the equity base of Ghana's insurance industry recorded a significant expansion in 2023, growing by 24% from 4.45 billion cedis in 2022 to 5.52 billion cedis in 2023. This was revealed in the 2024 Bank of Ghana Financial Stability Review. There is more in this report.
According to the report, this remarkable 24% increase reflects the sector's strong financial resilience and its capacity for sustained growth and adaptation, given the rather volatile and dynamic economic environment witnessed in the last couple of years. The upswing in equity not only signals the industry's strong health, but also its potential to leverage opportunities and navigate challenges effectively. The report also indicated that the insurance industry also maintained a capital adequacy ratio well above the regulatory benchmark of 150%, signifying a robust industry. Meanwhile, the total value of investment assets increased by 22% to 10.5 billion cedis in 2023 from 8.6 billion cedis in 2022.
A Business Desk report. To some other stories, the country's economic fortune is likely to have an impact on savings culture of citizens. The situation may compel more people to use other means of keeping funds rather than saving at the bank and other financial institutions. That's the view of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, speaking to Joy Business after engaging some students from the Central Region on the need for savings to mark the World Savings Day. Board Chairman of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association, Dr. Bernard Bingap, highlighted the need for more financial institutions, to build trust to attract savings.
The biggest challenge is the economy. As you know and you have rightly alluded to, if you have a stable economy, parents can produce and therefore will pass on to the young ones. They don't earn anything. Whatever they get it from their parents. So if you have a very unstable economy, it makes it difficult for savings. The second one is trust. Not long ago, you realize that a lot of the banks were faded out. It has brought in a lot of mistrust. So for us at the credit union, one of the things we are doing is to build trust. How do we build trust? Each time there's a transaction on your account, you should get an alert. Anytime there's an activity, because then you can see that if something untoward is happening to your money, you will get to know.
Dr. Bernard Bingap is the board chairman of the Ghana Cooperative Credit Unions Association. As part of efforts to promote mental health, Belacqua Ghana has organized the Healing Together Vigil 2.0. The initiative, which is part of the company's Take a Break campaign, hosted mental health advocates and influencers. In an interview with Joy Business, the head of marketing, Chris Adu-Sarkodie, announced that the company will donate 300,000 cedis to the Ghana Mental Health Authority, reinforcing the company's commitment to promoting mental health awareness in Ghana.
Belacqua is taking the mental health awareness to the second stage, and it's quite big. What we are doing is that, so for every quarter, Belacqua is issuing out 75,000 cedis to the Mental Health Authority. So fully in a year, we are looking at 300,000 cedis to support the mental health authorities, so that the psychiatrists, the psychologists, and all the experts will be able to go into the communities to have conversations and have impact in the life of consumers. So we are excited about this relationship with Mental Health Authority, and we are very hopeful that through these collaborations, we'll be able to demystify that whole assumptions or negativities that Ghanaians have when it comes to the topic of mental health.
Chris Adu-Sarkodie is the head of banking at Belacqua Ghana. And then business on Newsnight. Daniel is ready to serve you some sports news.
Let's go straight into the stories. And Ghana Athletics President Bawa Fuseni has pledged the association's commitment to securing financial support for Africa Games gold medal winning jumper Kadman Evans Yamwa, who is facing expulsion from the Central University of Missouri due to $15,000 in unpaid fees. Kadman's scholarship was recently revoked by the NCAA due to new eligibility rules putting his education and his athletic career at risk. Bawa Fuseni spoke exclusively to Joy Sports on the matter.
We heard it over the media, not officially. I would have wished the athletes write officially to Ghana Athletics for our intervention. But nonetheless, we are working to see how we can support him. Everything boils down to eligibility. We can talk about it later. But that's not the time for us to dwell on the issues or the problems. We are looking at the solution, how we are going to support him. So we are talking to stakeholders in the ministry to see how best we can support him to be able to complete his school this December. So let's pray. It will be very painful. And such a talented athlete will not be able to graduate.
That was Ghana Athletics President Bawa Fuseni bringing that into sports. Back to you, MFA.
Thank you very much, Danny Cranting. Well, it's time for us to get into the election headquarters. But just before we do so, we've been talking about this new curriculum, and we've been interacting with the Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee, Dr. Clementa Pak, a while ago on the involvement of Parliament or the Select Committee in this particular stakeholder engagement. And he stated emphatically that Parliament had not been engaged at any level at all, and that he's unaware of any such engagement. He also mentioned that he had checked with other colleagues on that committee, and there was no such engagement. We heard the Director General, Professor Yaya Jakaji, mention that there's been some engagement in February. I'm told also there's an engagement in October, and we have a copy of the NACA Journal. This was for 2023. Yeah. And my colleague James Aveji joins me in studio with what we know in terms of the details of this particular journal. James, what did you find?
Yes, MFA. So this is the January 2023 edition of the NACA Journal as part of their quarterly publications. And it indicates that NACA has been engaging with some stakeholders. The first on that journal is the National House of Chiefs. Then the second group was the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education. I'll come back to that. The other groups include the regional education officers across the country. There's been engagement with NAT, there's been engagement with NAGRAT, Prinkov, as well as NUKES and several other bodies, including writers who were supposed to write this curriculum, as well as publishers. And so that is essentially what is contained in that journal. Now, back to the engagement with the Parliamentary Select Committee. This engagement happened. So just briefly, they said as part of the ongoing curriculum review process, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NACA, has engaged with the Parliamentary Select Committee on Education. This is in line with the inclusive and stakeholder-led approach adopted to ensure the reviewed SHS curriculum reflects the voice of all stakeholders, and it continues on and on. Now, what is important to note is that after this engagement, there's been a group photograph shared in this, two of them. One is a group photograph with the executives of NACA as well as members of the Parliamentary Select Committee who were met. And so the description under the photo is NACA officials in a group photograph with some members of Parliament Select Committee on Education. From left, Akwesi Adai Boahini, into bracket title, Honorable Clement Apak, into bracket Bilsa South, Professor Edward Appiah, Director General of NACA, Honorable Kwabena Amankwa Isiama, Parliamentary Chair stroke Fantiakwa North MP, and Professor Jonathan Fletcher from Titel as well. And so in the second photo shows a conference room engagement where someone was doing a presentation of slides, and you have Honorable Clement Apak sitting third to the left of that photo,
and you
actively
see him
in
wearing
that conference.
a red, white, and blue
t-shirt, Lacoste t-shirt.
I must say that
blue jeans.
the team have been trying to contact Dr. Clement Apak. We've been reaching him. I've called him personally on my phone. We've called him also with a landline that we reached him earlier to respond to this particular new evidence or information that we have that he was actually part of this engagement with NACA as far back as last year, 2023,
January of 2023.
As and when we are able to reach him, we bring that to you. Let's get into the election headquarters now. And tonight in your election headquarters, we know that the both candidates for the NPP and the NDC have been crisscrossing the country. The NPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is on a 15-day tour of the Ashanti region as we speak, and there are doubts being cast on the claim that 2.6 million jobs were created by the government over its 8-year tenure. Citing data from SNIT and other sources, the Vice President indicated that the government created approximately 2.6 million jobs, with 1.4 million in the private sector and 1.2 million in the public sector. In his engagement with the youth yesterday, Dr. Bawumia said the achievement in job creation have outperformed previous administrations. Listen.
So far, as yesterday or day before, I checked on the data from SNIT and other sources, and so far, from between 2017 and 2024, the latest data is that we've created 2.6 million jobs. 2.6 million jobs. 1.4 in the private sector and 1.2 in the public sector. This is the highest of any government in the Fourth Republic. The highest job creation. We have more to do because we still have high unemployment. Our youth still need jobs, but we have done quite a bit. Unemployment is still a major issue, but I'm making a firm commitment to sustain and expand the rebounding economy to address the problem of unemployment.
Well, lead data analyst at Joy News, Isaac Ofieje, joins me in studio with what we've been digging over the past few hours on this particular data that's been put out by Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Kofi, first, take us through what the government has been reporting on job creation so far.
Well, MF, according to the MPP's own manifesto document, they created over 2.3 million jobs between 2017 and 2024. And in the government performance tracker, which was released just this year, they claim 2.03 million jobs or 8 million jobs were actually created between 2017 and 2023. So those are some of the details that we've been gathering from their manifesto document and their performance tracker.
So, Kofi, if government created 2.8 million jobs from 2017 to 2023, how then do we have such a high figure, 2.6 million, when we haven't even ended the year?
In fact, that is the big question that we've been trying to actually get answers to. The government's current figure of 2.6 million between 2017 and 2024 shows it has created some 520,000 jobs in just this year alone, which is higher than the annual average of 371,000 between 2017 and 2023, MFA.
Well, you've been digging into the manifestos of the NPP and NDC, though. What exactly are they promising when it comes to jobs?
Well, so let's look at the NPP's top 5. Train 1 million youth in digital skills, create SME jobs with the introduction of the SME Bank, employ more security services personnel, create jobs for artisans, as carpenters, masons, and welders, and create jobs through the tax amnesty program. For the NDC, they really focus on the 24-hour economy, 1 million coders job, which is also just like the NPP's, digital skills, and then also set up Women's Development Bank and the National Apprenticeship Program. And the last one has to do with what they call the Ejumewura project, a special business, startup policy aimed at facilitating job creation in Ghana.
Thank you very much, Isaac Ofieje, there with all the details. We've been hearing from the NDC presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, who is in the OT region and is challenging Dr. Bawumia's commitment to job creation for young people. He says if he's truly committed to his pledge, he should first pay the outstanding allowances owed NAPCO trainees.
Na reho any amabunubia you're from NAPCO trainees. 1st May 2018. Nana Akufo-Addo ne Bawumia omo frɛ Ghana mabunu nyinaa ba Independence Square omso ombɛyɛ NAPCO trainees na ɛkwada no ba yɛsi yɛbɛfa omo nipa baako 100,000 ɛma obiara de anigye ɛkɔ Independence Square hɔ yɛpamatadeɛ hyɛ omo hyɛ t-shirts bibia na omo sɛ omo wie NAPCO training na yɛde omo ɛbɛhyehyɛ ndwuma mu. Inti akwadai emabuni omodem anije ekwa Independence Square. Ene ameka say enfie miansa omose omode beye NAPCO no na omode kwada na hyehyɛ ndwuma mu. Enfie miansa na twem. Na enkwadai omho omobo. Omo aka omampedini na bedi chiri enti. Omo wie ya munya edwuma ma omo.
That's NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama there on the non-payment of NAPCO trainees. We've been hearing also from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia on the campaign trail today in the Ashanti region. He's also been criticizing former President John Dramani Mahama for his inability to mention one policy initiative he championed.
As president or vice president. Baku udiaba odi emfaso abre Ghana for one on train ishishare baku udiaba Ghana as president or vice president. Went me a year no baku media eyadum so ana anaza akukon getting Sana ebu mai. Media ubisami Dr. Bawumia. Where the vice president? The other is sharing all the about 33 different policies. 33 different.
And that's how we end today's edition of News Night here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more when you log on to myjoyonline.com.